Hey y'all, welcome back to Twin Oaks Farm Poultry. Thanks for joining us. And we've got big changes in the brooder on day 10 with our 304 Cornish Rock cross meat chickens. So right here where this plastic and then metal and plastic feeders are sitting, and that is part of the changes, but right there where they're sitting, if you'll remember, we had a temporary wall running across here made out of these transport crates, and we've moved it because these 304 Cornish Rock cross meat chickens need a little more room. They are almost at the end of the phase that we call brooding, the first 2 weeks of their lives, and they are ready for more room. I was estimating that the brooder space they had was about 15 foot by 15 foot, and we had hoped that they would be able to stay in that space for about 14 days, but we gauged that realistically that space would probably accommodate them for about 10 days. And that turned out to be really accurate because we observed as of day 9 that really the birds were getting a little crowded in that space. And when you think about the stocking density of your birds in your space, you also have to take into consideration all the stuff that you have in your space for your birds, which includes the waters and the feeders. And of course you have the overhead lamps, but those are hanging down. But the waters and feeders take up floor space just like the birds do. So those are things that figure into how much room you have for birds and how many birds you can fit there. So we had realistically acknowledged to ourselves that 10 days was probably what we would get out of that space, and that ended up being accurate. As I said, we noticed they were getting crowded, but also we noticed that even though we had added new bedding, they had also kind of maxed out what the floor could handle. The bedding material was staying kind of moist and clumpy on top. We got somebody in a corner, let him out. So it was staying moist and clumpy on top because it was maxed out. It was all of the manure load that floor space, surface area could handle. So they just needed a little bit more room. So we actually more or less doubled the space of their brooder. And the way we were able to do that was we had those transport crates running across here. We just moved them. We just moved them out like this, and we made the space just about double for them. So we've added some bedding to that, and the birds can just move around, and they're gonna have twice as much space. We were also able to make these into more of an arced, like a U shape, so we don't have the 90-degree corners there for the birds to have to deal with like we did up here on the other end, which will be great because we don't have to put corner boards there or worry about keeping the birds out. So we've got some loud chirpers because, you know, sometimes it's a little bit distressing for them to deal with change and upheaval in their pen, but we really like this brooder setup because that's basically a zero stress way to deal with needing to give them more room. We didn't have to pick any birds up. We didn't have to handle them. We didn't have to get them stressed or overheated. We were able to just move the transport crates and let them find the new space all on their own. So that just worked out great. So in addition to giving them more space, the other changes in the brooder today on day 10 for them is that all of the baby bird feed and water dispensers are out, and the big bird feed and water dispensers are in. And just a couple notes on that, we have to be sure that they can reach it. So, you know, when we tested the water dispensers, we were able to have the wood riser still underneath it, and we verified that the birds could reach in and drink from that water tray. But when we tested the feeders with the wood risers underneath them, we found that the birds couldn't reach the trays. So I had to take the wood risers out of those in order to make sure that the birds could reach them. So if you're working with feed and water dispensers that are similar to those, you just need to make sure that your birds can actually reach into the trays to get the food and the water. So they're really going to have about double the space that we've had. And Mr. Twin Oaks Farm is down there getting some of our chain infrastructure down that we hang our heat lamps from, because instead of having it set up like this, we're going to actually probably change it to having 3 going that way and 3 going that way. And we added that 6th one, so we've got 6 lights now instead of 5. As of day 9, y'all only saw 5 lights in the brooder, but now we have 6. because we noticed with the birds getting bigger, a heat lamp could only accommodate fewer birds. So we needed another lamp so that they weren't crowding each other into another space. So basically, that's all we're going to look at here on day 10. We really feel fortunate. This flock has got off to a super start. Here on day 10, we still have 304 birds out of the 305 that we started with. So we really feel grateful for that. And of course, keeping in mind, we're raising these for 6 weeks. The goal is to produce wholesome and delicious homegrown poultry for them. And we hope that you'll join us again to keep up with the progress of this flock. We really appreciate all of our subscribers and viewers, and we hope that y'all know how much we do appreciate you following our channel and interacting with us. So please stay with us, and we'll see you again on day 11. Thanks so much. God bless y'all.